Hello everyone and welcome. It's June 8th and this is Afghan Voice Agency. Zalmay Khalilzad, U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan Reconciliation, has urged Afghan leaders and politicians to start serious negotiations with Pakistan in order to resolve the Afghan peace issue, sources said. In a meeting with former President Hamid Karzai, the U.S. delegation led by Khalilzad called for serious negotiations to address issues with Pakistan and suggested they send a high-ranking delegation to Islamabad, sources said. Khalilzad has emphasized the need for political consensus, conveying of Algeria and resolving issues with Pakistan. Jafar Mahdavi, head of the Hizb Millati Afghanistan, said. NATO is looking into how it can provide training to Afghan security forces, especially special operation forces in other countries, chief of the alliance said. Our military mission, the resolute support mission in Afghanistan, will end, but of course we can train Afghan forces in other countries and we're looking into how we can provide that kind of support, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said in an event hosted by Atlantic Council. He also said that NATO will provide advice on the capacity building for security institutions in Afghanistan and it will continue to fund the Afghan security forces. The United Nations Special Envoy in Afghanistan, Jane Arnold, met with Iranian Foreign Minister's advisor Mohammad Ebrahim Taherian on Monday in Tehran to discuss the Afghanistan situation. Taherian said Iran considers Afghanistan's peace and security as its own and supports the peace process owned and led by Afghans. The two sides also expressed concern over the escalation of violence in Afghanistan in the past few months and called for a decrease in violence and efforts to prevent civilian casualties. As U.S. troops withdraw from Afghanistan, the CIA is reportedly under intense pressure to find new ways to gather intelligence and carry out counter-terrorism strikes in the country, the New York Times reported on Monday. But according to the report, the spy agency has a few good options. The CIA has been at the heart of the 20-year American presence in Afghanistan, will soon lose bases in the country from where it has run combat missions and drone strikes while closely monitoring the Taliban and other groups such as Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. United States officials are in last-minute efforts to secure bases close to Afghanistan for future operations, with one focus on Pakistan. As the search continues, recent CIA and military intelligence reports on Afghanistan have been increasingly pessimistic, the Times reported. Documents shows Roshan firms owes about 2.37 billion Afghanis to the government in 2% frequency services, administrative fees, a fine on 10% tax on a mobile credit card and other payments. Roshan Company says it reached an agreement with the Ministry of Finance under Minister Humayun Qayyumi to pay the arrears within 5 years, but the agreement was rejected by Afghanistan Telecom Regulator Authority, and at the suggestion of the president, the company has come up with another new plan to repay the amount. The Ministry of Finance has said Roshan should pay arrears and tax in installment within 5 years, but ATRA said the Ministry of Finance should not schedule ATRA-related payments without consulting them, and a joint committee has decided that the dues should be paid to the government within 5 months at the end of the fiscal year. But Roshan said it has submitted a new payment plan to the government. A senior official of Lebanon's Hezbollah resistance movement has warned the Israeli regime against another military adventurism, saying the aggressors would see fire of hell in the event of another war. Hassan Baghdadi, a member of the Central Council of Hezbollah resistance movement, said the Israeli regime officials should be less arrogant and get off the high horse of pride and arrogance. Baghdadi said the Israeli officials do not learn lessons and do not understand real politics, adding that their aggressive and criminal nature leads them toward miscalculations. A driver plowed a pickup truck into a family of 5, killing 4 of them and seriously injuring others in an attack that targeted the victims because they were Muslims, Canadian police said Monday.
The incident occurred when a vehicle struck these citizens as they walked along Hyde Park Road, where it intersects with South Carriage Road. We believe that this was an intentional act and that the victims of this horrific incident were targeted. We believe the victims were targeted because of their Islamic faith. The deceased include a 74-year-old female, a 46-year-old male, a 44-year-old female, and a 15-year-old female. One 9-year-old male, the sole survivor, remains in hospital with serious injuries not considered life-threatening.
Let me be clear, this was an act of mass murder perpetrated against Muslims, against Londoners, and rooted in unspeakable hatred. The magnitude of such hatred can make one question who we are as a city and who we are as Londoners. It's up to us, though, all of us, to answer that question through not only our words but our actions. Look, we can say this isn't who we are, and I know that to be true. Words, though, are not enough. We must demonstrate, behave, and act on those words. This act of Islamophobia, this act of unspeakable hatred, must be followed by acts of compassion, acts of kindness, acts of humanity, acts of solidarity, empathy, justice, and above all, love.
Thank you so much for the privilege of your time.